Okay, hello. I will share with you some ideas on whether it is useless or useful to draw on reading patterns when reading comic books. This idea stems from a research on translating comic books. Translators, in the first place, are readers, and they should be aware of how to read in order to not miss anything that could affect the interlinguistic translation. And what made me think a lot about reading patterns known to me was the note that I found at the back cover of this Brazilian comic book. Above the barcode, you can see an icon showing a reader sitting on a toilet and reading. The text says that the approximate time of reading for the Bando de Dois book should be 45 minutes. Now, take a look at the opening page of this 96-pager. You can see a wounded cangaceiro falling down. According to the approximate time of reading note, probably based on traditional reading patterns, you should spend more or less 30 seconds on it. But aren't you tempted to spend more? Maybe rotating the page to understand better what is going on. Here you can see a list of concepts that are linked or can be linked to the general idea of reading patterns in comic books, from very basic ones, as the Z pattern, to some complex and multifaceted ideas like The Art of Tensions by Charles Hatfield. The Z pattern, as presented here by MacLeod, ignores, among the others, the fact that, for example, Japanese manga does ignore the Z pattern at all. The path, in Polish ścieżka, drawn here by Jankowski for Craig Thompson's art, concentrates on following speech balloons. The starting and ending point here is always about the desperate speech device. And what about the talking heads? If you just finish following the path and saw all the talking heads only on the flow, maybe you missed something. Maybe, in the first place, we should start from taking a look at what the guy with the book on his knees is doing. Then see what he's telling to Craig, and then get back to look at him once again, and only then do the same for Craig speaking. How is your reading experience now? And what about the path? It does have some junctions to exit and then get back to the main road, doesn't it? And now, try to follow MacLeod's Z-path here. A, C, B, and again C. Does it make any sense to get back to C? And what about the visual equivalence? A link of correspondence between units of visual and graphic structure of a comic book inside the work or group of works. Shouldn't it be like that? The Z-path or the path letting you go beyond one page? From both Gronstein's art trilogies, we know that we can do it, because within the page multiframe that constitutes a complete comic, every panel exists potentially, if not actually, in relation with each of the others. This totality responds to a model of organization that is not of a strip nor that of a chain, but that of the network. But we can even go further, as Hatfield suggests that meaningful tensions occur not only between internal units, A, B, C, listed here, but can work the materiality of comic books. D. Visual literacy and readers' active engagement and collaboration in making meaning are crucial for comic art understood as a form of writing with pictures. And if writing with pictures is a constant choice for an artist, for a reader it should be a constant choice of what to do with those pictures in order to get whatever reading experience he is looking for. This kind of closure can lead us to unflattening and opening the comic we are reading. The reading experience can be partially planned, like here in Maguire's Here, a story about one place in different moments of time. The original edition is a regular book where you turn the following pages. But the Polish edition is a box of loose pages, and you can create your own reading sequence. Isn't it responding to the Hatfield's text as experience versus text as object? Take a look now at how an artist can challenge the materiality of a book. These are conceptual sketches for looping by Chmielewski. He chooses to break the idea of a page as a closed, meaningful structure. For him, the sequence can last more than one page. Here we can see a sequence of a walk that will go for next 18 pages. It is like a timeline. The walker in one moment says that in exactly 2 minutes he will meet someone in a pub, and that is exactly the time the reader should take to get there along with the character in the book. If you ever thought that Gronson's idea that every panel exists potentially, if not actually, in relation with each of the others, is crazy, you should read this book by Brazilian Quintanilha. Quintanilha makes Gronson's idea true, as in Tungstênio, the network works just fine. One sequence can start, like here on page 52, where we can see a person suddenly afraid of something and then chasing a bus. But until page 134, we don't know what made him afraid. Here we can see that his fiancée saw him from the bus with another woman. The sequence completes itself. Quintanilha constantly makes us jump all over the book to find all the relations. We literally have to look for our own path to put the puzzles together. And there is more than one way to do it. So, to conclude, I must admit that reading patterns may be useful as a starting point to face the challenge of reading some of the comic books, but should not be treated as our only choice. The path we follow can't be too narrow. Look at this map. It shows the itinerary of a brave Polish adventurer, Kazimierz Nowak, who spent 5 years, from 1931 to 1936, traveling in Africa, mostly by bicycle. He surely saw a lot, but in the end he only traced a thin line. The same may happen when you will try to read a 96-pager in 45 minutes. And if you take something for granted, you may end up staring at a stained glass like this. This is a cathedral in Senlis, France, and trying to figure it out in a Z pattern up bottom, because you see a comic book in the Saint-Louis story. Forgetting completely that it is about ascending into heaven, and you should read it from the bottom. This instruction I found past 10 minutes of trying to make sense of the story in stained glass. So here you have my bibliography, and I based my observation on it, but was rather inspired by the authors than trying to quote them all directly. Apart from the 2 books in Polish, you should know them all. Thank you for your attention.